Alright, Yoko Bear, #1 apprentice. We've had a Supra get dropped off this morning. Absolutely beautiful specimen of a Supra. Lovely morning here, nice and bright, sunny blue skies. It's a change for winter. So the Supra's very clean, big fan, big fan. He's brought this in today so that we can take the lenses off, clean up the inside, re-spray paint these plastics. We're going to go with the same satin black. We're just going to freshen it all up so that the headlights match the rest of the body. Alright, I've taken 1 bolt off, 2 bolts off, 3 bolts off. And if only every car was built like this, my job would be easier. Now the headlight, as you can see, will just come out. Done. Imagine if every car was built like that. My job would be a whole lot easier. I've been going around this thing for about 5 minutes, and you can see here how the butyl is starting to turn like chewing gum. It's sticking to my finger. That's how I know that it's very, very soft and it's able to be fried open very, very soon. There's 2 ways of doing this. You can put it in the oven, you can get the whole thing hot and you can open it up that way, and it probably does work better. But I choose to do it this way because I'm ADHD as heck, and I've left things in the oven before or forgot to set a timer and I've damaged them. So for me, this forces me to slow down and actually do a nice clean job, not damage any of the components that don't need to be damaged. And I'm just focusing on this part here anyways, where the seal actually is. Once it's hot and you can actually hear me again, I've got this tool here and this tool here. So I'm going to get it started with my screwdriver. That's just the way it is. I'll pry this back just enough to get it started, and then I'm going to get my reverse pliers, I call them, to start prying up underneath that seal. So I'm going to get in between the housing and the plastic lens, and that way I'm not damaging anything as it opens. You just want to go around here slowly, slowly, slowly. This particular tool is almost essential because it stops you from damaging and prying this back. So as you can see, my housing still looks very, very clean. Just like that, the lens has come off. So the next job will be to heat this up again, clean all that out with my screwdriver. That's why it looks the way it does, because I heat these channels up and I just clean all that excess butyl out so that I've got a nice clean channel to lay my new butyl in. We'll clean all this out because this is disgusting. We'll take these out so that we can paint and clean everything up, because all the paint's, 20, 30 years old and it looks terrible now. So that's the next part of the job. So the main job today was to clean up this particular part of the housing. As you can see here, there's a small crack on this side, so I'm going to put some glue on the back to prevent it from getting worse. We'll strip these housings of all the paint and we'll make way for the new paint. So we're going to stay satin black so it looks a bit similar. But yeah, we're going to have to strip all of this off first, because as you can see, it's just flaking away and terrible. So we want the base paint to stick onto something. So first things first, we'll go and strip these down. So while those lenses, internals are over there sort of getting all the chrome and oils and paint, anything stripped off of them, I'm over here heating up these channels so that we can clean them out and make way for the new butyl. So this is a very important step, because if you don't do this, there's a good chance you're going to get moisture in your headlights, and then all this work will be for nothing when it starts to get tarnished and ruined by the weather. So do make sure that you heat up these channels and clean them all out. Usually I would wait for this to cool down before touching it. It's a little bit easier to get off, and like off your screwdriver. I was just being a bit foolish there. Yeah, I've cleaned most of this channel. Just got to do a little bit more here. But this is, yeah, like I said, very important step to the overall job. So as you can probably now see, the surface on these has been scratched up. It's cooked. This is intentional. So now, got a nice clean surface. Well, haven't even cleaned a surface. Once we clean it with some ISO. This will just get any of the remaining paint flecks off, any of the dust. Give us a nice surface to paint over the top of. See, so we're still getting heaps of dust and debris off, so it's good that we clean these multiple times. Trick for the young players, do not use ISO on your lenses, on your tail lights, your headlights. Has a tendency to crack old plastic, so you get spider webs and looks really nasty when you use that product on your lenses, so just use it here pre-paint. So like I said earlier, this crack here needs to be addressed before I paint it. So I've got this plastic staple. It's a plastic welding kit. So essentially it's just going to get really hot. And as you can see in a minute here, it's going to get hot enough to penetrate the plastic. Make sure you don't go all the way through, of course. Let it cool down. And now that's not going anywhere. So that's strong, that's repaired, and it's not going to crack again. Trim the backs off. It's flush. It's ready to be painted. Just have to go over it one more time because I use my bare hands. Get some of the oil off. My fingers would have transferred over. So one more clean. Alright, it's ready for paint. So it's a little bit cold here today, so I'm going to heat my paint up. It just helps it spray better. It sprays out nicer when it's nice and warm, and it's also going to be a little bit easier for the ball inside to mix it up when it's not cold. So it's a little trick to help with these sorts of applications. Warm up your paint first, and then you're going to want to spray a light coat. So we're going to do a light coat first. That's going to give something for the paint to stick to. Once it dries, we'll be able to do 2, 3, however many coats we need. Let's move that off to the side. Need better access here. Let that dry. We'll come back and give it another coat shortly. Alright, so I've largely finished cleaning out the seals. I'm just getting ready to put everything back together. And I've noticed there's these little dots all over this reflector bowl here. So you have to be super careful, because to my understanding, these aren't like a chrome spray, it's a electroplating. So you physically can't replace the chrome when it comes off. So you have to be super careful not to scratch it, damage it, or remove it. And that's half the reason why I'm using this particular cloth. It's very fluffy and forgiving. It allows me to clean that reflector bowl and get all these little dots and rubbish out of it without ruining the chrome in there. So this one I've already painted. I'm just waiting for it to cure a little bit better. I'll clean the bowl out on this one as well while we're here. This one's not so bad, but I'll make sure it's all the same. So the bowls are clean, the housings are clean on the inside. I've wiped down all the glass and the lenses. Again, the channels have all been cleaned out of the old butyl to allow for the new stuff to sit in. We're just waiting on the left hand side to finish drying enough so that I can cure it on this bench, and then we'll slap this all back together. Alright, so I've wiped down the inside and the outside of these lenses. Unfortunately, these little black marks here, they're damaged. So I would say that the housing, sort of this plastic here, has been loose within here, and it was sort of banging up against that on the inside. It's actually been damaged, so it's almost impossible to remove these. But we've cleaned the inside as much as we physically can, and it's looking good, ready for these to go back inside. So I have to be fairly gentle because the paint hasn't fully cured. It's dry to the touch, but obviously it's still probably a bit soft. But once they're in, they're not going to move around. So just gotta ever so carefully place it into the lens here. Trying not to let the butyl that's on the housing sort of stick to your nice clean paint. So on this side, there's two little plastic parts that you're trying to sort of get it down past. Alright, that's in. Little tab goes back in here. That tightens down and sort of holds it in place, but you know, I've seen better jobs, better ways of holding it in, I should say. But it all looks nice and clean now. The black is black. There's no orange showing through. Nice clean job. Ready to put the butyl back in here and seal it all together. Alright, so I've got my butyl here. This one is quite a bit thicker than what I'm used to using, so I just stretch it out a little bit, just sort of stretch it like chewing gum or like so. You don't want to stretch it too much because when you heat it up it'll start to sort of retract back, so just give it a light stretching. Literally just start in one corner, go all the way around. Well, so like I said, the next part is just to get this really, really hot and sticky, and then I'll get that lens and press it in place. So let's go. You can see it's starting to turn like a light grey. It means it's very sticky. Whereas over here, where we haven't heated it, nothing. So that's how it works. It's heat activated. You can see it changing colour as I go along. Getting super hot and sticky. It's exactly what we want. Right, this is looking super hot and very ready for the lens to push in. So I'll do one more big slow pass and we'll push that lens on top. Alright. Just making sure that we get everything lined up and in place. So what I'm putting my clamps on is where the silver clips were at the start. Just means I can seal this up a little bit easier, a bit more one-handed. Alright, so I've just finished pushing this together. I can probably push that down a little bit further, but what I'll do is I'll heat it up separately. I'll heat that edge up and that edge up separately. Just compress that a little bit more. Whilst I leave these clips here, they can push down the top and the bottom for me, so they'll be compressing it while the butyl dries. And then once the butyl cools down and dries, it'll hold it much better in place. So that's perfect for now. I'll just start heating up the other side. Alright, so we're getting ready to finish the job off. This side's sealing up here. Just gotta go around and put all these little silver clips back on. So they come in here and then clip over the top there. I've actually got this one around backwards. That's why it was a little bit too easy. So sometimes you gotta pry it under a little bit, makes life easier. There we go, he's on. So they hold the lens compressed and stop it from opening up over time as well. Oh, I keep slipping off the top one here. Come on, you little bugger. There we go. Yeah, so they are tight. They're meant to be tight. It's holding your lens shut. Right, it's looking good. Alright, beautiful. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give these lenses a polish because he's come to me for a restoration. I just want to do the best job I can. So I've got a medium cut, a medium polish, and then a light polish. So I'm going to go over in this order just to sort of bring out any tiny abrasions or blemishes. Quite a few, like I said, are on the inside, but I've wiped it down as much as I can, and now we're just going to give it a polish on the outside. So I think I had it down here. Clear cut correction compound. Typically I use this on the car, on the surface of the car, but it also works quite good on the lenses. So shout out to Chemical guys, big fan of this one. And over here. So I've got a DA polisher, just means the head goes forwards and backwards. It stops any swirls or marks. These are quite good to use. Big fan of these. I'm not a pro polisher. Someone is probably going to tell me that I've done it wrong. But this is how I do it, and it seems to work. Make sure I don't have any debris in there. I usually wash these out fairly frequently. Oh, that's definitely too much. So I'll just do a bit there, a bit there. Try and get off the pad a bit. I'll just smear it all around. Cool. I'll set this to 5. That's cool. Alright, so I'm giving that one a cut. I'm going to polish him off next. We'll just finish this side off. Alright, lights have been polished, cleaned and serviced, so everything's painted black on the inside as requested. There's a couple of blemishes you can see there. They just weren't able to be removed, but it's night and day from how they first came to us with paint chipped off on the inside. So that looks substantially better. The only way it would look better than this is if new lenses, but at the cost of those nowadays. Let's go put it back on the car. Alright, so we're finished with the Supra. I've cleaned the lenses as much as humanly possible, so like I said, that's on the inside. However, the paint at least does now look nice, clean. There's no chips on the paint in there, so that's all good. Same with this one, it's turned out quite well. Annoyingly, yeah, it's on the inside of the plastic there, couldn't get that out. But the lights do look substantially cleaner without paint chipping on them, so hopefully the customer's happy with this. It looks a lot more OEM. It's a lot more OEM than I'm used to building anyways.